One of the biggest takeaways from Raising Kanan Season 5 Episode 2 isn't Rack's new business venture, Marvin's hunt for revenge, or even Kanan getting deeper into the game. It's something much simpler and much more dangerous. Unique is running. And for a man like Unique, that's a terrifying thing to watch. Think about it for a second. This is the same Unique who spent years controlling parts of Queens. The same guy who never backed down from a fight. The same man who built a reputation based on fear, respect, and survival. Yet in Episode 2, we see a completely different version of him. For perhaps the first time in the entire series, Unique looks like a man who understands that he can actually lose. Not lose money, not lose territory, not lose an argument. Lose everything. His family, his freedom, his life. And that realization changes everything. When the episode opens, Unique is still trying to convince himself that there's a future beyond Queens. His girlfriend wants out. She wants distance from the violence, the betrayals, and the constant fear that comes with street life. Honestly, can you blame her? The woman was kidnapped because of who Unique is. Her child was put in danger because of who Unique is. At some point, survival becomes more important than loyalty to a neighborhood. But that's where Unique finds himself trapped. He doesn't know how to exist outside the game. Queens isn't just where he lives. Queens is who he is. Every memory, every victory, every enemy, every scar, they're all tied to those streets. So when his girlfriend says she doesn't want to go back, what she's really asking him to do is become somebody else. And Unique doesn't know if he's capable of that. That's what makes his storyline so fascinating this season. This isn't just about running from enemies. This is about running from himself. The problem is that Queens won't let him go. Everywhere Unique turns, another threat appears. Marvin wants revenge. Stefano doesn't trust him. Birilla already proved that people can reach him whenever they want. And now Breeze is becoming a major factor. That's the part that should worry fans the most. Because Breeze isn't simply another gangster. He's becoming a force. Every episode makes that clearer. People are starting to orbit around him. Kanan respects him. Stefano is willing to do business around him. Even Unique seems uneasy about him. And when a character like Unique gets nervous, viewers should pay attention. One of the most underrated moments in Episode 2 happens when Unique warns Kanan about Breeze. It's easy to dismiss because Kanan laughs it off. But Unique isn't the type of person who gives warnings for no reason. He's seen enough predators to recognize one when he sees one. And I think that's exactly what he sees in Breeze. A predator. The difference is that Kanan isn't listening. Why would he? He's young. He's ambitious. He's finally feeling powerful. From Kanan's perspective, Breeze represents opportunity. From Unique's perspective, Breeze represents danger. And history tells us that Unique is probably right. The irony is that while Marvin is searching everywhere for Unique, the real threat may not even be Marvin. It may be the growing alliance forming around Kanan and Breeze. Because every time Kanan gets deeper into that world, Unique loses influence. And influence is survival. The streets are changing. Power is shifting. The old players are being pushed aside. Unique can feel it happening. That's why he's so desperate. Not because he's scared of dying. Because he's scared of becoming irrelevant. For guys like Unique, irrelevance is worse than death. If nobody fears you anymore, you're finished. If nobody respects you anymore, you're finished. If nobody needs you anymore, you're finished. And that's exactly where Unique is heading. But here's where my theory gets interesting. I don't think Unique stays on the run all season. In fact, I think his time hiding is creating something far more dangerous. Think about what happens when a wounded animal gets cornered. Eventually, it stops running. Eventually, it fights back. And when it does, it's usually at its most dangerous. That's the version of Unique I think we're building toward. Right now, he's playing defense. He's trying to survive. He's trying to protect his family. He's trying to stay one step ahead of Marvin. But survival can only motivate a person for so long. Eventually, survival turns into anger. Eventually, anger turns into revenge. And when that happens, Queens is going to have a serious problem. Because Unique knows everybody's secrets. He knows how the streets work. He knows who owes money, who betrayed who can be bought, who can be manipulated. He's a walking file cabinet of criminal intelligence. That's what makes him dangerous. Not his gun, not his muscle, his knowledge. The smartest move Unique can make right now isn't attacking Marvin. It isn't attacking Rack. It isn't attacking Stefano. It's exposing people, using information as a weapon. And I think that's exactly what he's preparing to do. Let's also talk about Marvin, because Marvin's grief is driving everything. Lulu's death has broken him. You can see it in every scene. You can hear it every time he talks. This isn't the same Marvin we've watched grow over the last few seasons. This is a man who needs somebody to blame. And right now, that somebody is Unique. The problem is that revenge rarely solves anything in Raising Kanan. It usually creates bigger problems. Imagine Marvin finally finds Unique. Imagine he gets the confrontation he's been chasing. Then what? Does Lou come back? No. Does the pain disappear? No. Does the family heal? No. All it does is create another body and another war. That's why I think Marvin's hunt ends badly. Either he discovers Unique wasn't fully responsible for what happened, or somebody else gets caught in the middle. Maybe even Kanan. And that possibility should terrify fans. Because Kanan is already moving closer to Breeze while simultaneously ignoring every warning being thrown his way. That's never a good sign in this universe. Meanwhile, Unique's family situation could become even more important moving forward. His girlfriend wants peace. His son deserves peace. But peace costs money, and it costs protection. The question becomes simple. How does Unique provide both while hiding from everyone? The answer is he probably can't, which means sooner or later he's going to return to Queens. Not because he wants to, because he has to. That's the tragedy of his character. He sees the trap. He understands the danger. But he doesn't know another way to live. And that's why episode 2 felt so important. This wasn't an action episode for Unique. This was a character episode. It showed us a man standing at a crossroads. One road leads toward family. The other leads back toward power. And if Raising Kanan has taught us anything, it's that characters almost always choose power. The scary part is that Unique might be making that choice right now without even realizing it. Every conversation, every warning, every moment of frustration, it's all building towards something. A return, a confrontation, a war. My biggest prediction is that Unique eventually stops running and starts hunting. The question isn't whether he'll come back to Queens. The question is what version of Unique returns. Will it be the father trying to protect his family? Or the street king who wants his crown back? Because if it's the second one, then Marvin, Breeze, and maybe even Kanan are about to discover something very dangerous. The man they've been chasing hasn't disappeared. He's been surviving. And surviving men are often the most dangerous men of all. By the end of episode 2, one thing becomes crystal clear. Unique may be on the run today, but he won't stay there forever. And when he finally decides to stop running, Queens might not be ready for what's coming next.